to assist the president's efforts. They're doing so with Gaza, with the Gaza resolution, and that. Okay, good morning, everybody. I know I said yesterday I wasn't going to come on. Sorry. But I might as well do. We got a lot of short videos. I only got a couple half-hour videos. So, you can't see it. It's invaluable, but not in its current condition. We are committed to reforming it, and the UN knows it needs to be reformed as well. I'm getting snow right now, so can't go do nothing today. So I'm stuck in here all day. When it comes to any of these negotiations with world leaders, I think it's important to understand that when you see market drawdowns, if we look at bear markets going all the way back to 1950, there's been 16 of them that have happened, and that's a top to bottom drop of at least 20% or more. Whenever it's a top to bottom drop of at least due to a financial crisis, it takes like 4 to 5 years to get back to break even. But when we have a bear market due to policy influenced events, which would be some of these potential negotiations, those are quick, and you snap back quick. You get back to break even within 4 to 6 months instead of years. So, as an investor, if we see any tension and stocks start to sell off, the best thing we're going to be doing is to stay disciplined, use knowledge as our power, and to continue to reposition into high quality, high growth names. Continue. That's what we do. So, it's Diego Garcia, which is an island in the Pacific that the United States has used to test weapons for decades. And the Brits. Oh, hey, Paul. Yeah, I said I wasn't going to come on, but since I'm snowed in, I don't have nothing to do. Can't really do anything. The weather's bad today, so I'll recap. And I got 2 short, good, one 35-minute one and then a couple 20-minute ones. I don't have no long videos, but I got, the regular shorts and stuff. So a lot of good stuff to get out today for the first show. And then tonight, there's a lot I'm watching Trump. He already spoke because it's 3 o'clock there in Switzerland already. So he already spoke. I got 3 videos I'll share clips on from him. I got a video for you guys for the silver too. 180 on YouTube I watch. What state were you from, Paul? Oh, so yeah, okay. That's what I thought you were close. Yeah, I couldn't remember. We'll get people in here, and we'll wait 10 minutes. 5 minutes after 10:30, we'll go. Give it a couple minutes, and I'll go ahead and start the clips. I didn't know it was going to snow today. I don't know how much we're getting. Billy came out with a short 15
clip 2. And I got a clip on Trump saying that he bought Freeland for 700 something. I don't know. I got a video clip on that. So the first 5 clips will be about that, or one, and the rest on Trump arriving there. Yeah, I'm just going to stay away from the long videos.
Check your price today at ethos.com. Ready to add a Bitcoin fund? Get the Grayscale Bitcoin New Trust ETF. The Bitcoin fund from the world's largest digital asset-focused investment fund. Just search the ticker BTC wherever you invest. Grayscale. Invest in your share of the future.
Two more minutes. I'll go at the 10-minute mark.
President Trump rightly, I think, slammed the British government because he said it's that great stupidity. And on multiple fronts, there are significant tensions between Washington and London, including over issues such as freedom of speech, for example, and also curious rattling over Greenland, which isn't very helpful, I think, in terms of the relationship with President Trump. But would it be possible for the Brits to do a reversal and say, oh, you can have Greenland? After all that President Trump has said, could a British leader survive if he caved to Trump? The British people wouldn't have it, would they? Yeah, I think that a key consequence is Keir Starmer is a far left-wing socialist. He's a deeply unpopular prime minister. I think his approval rating is about 15 to 20%. And I think it's natural that there are going to be some huge divisions between the Labour government in London and the Republican administration here in Washington. We're seeing that play out, like I predicted this last year, in a number of town articles on this topic.
Okay, we'll go ahead and get started. Everybody's at work, and I didn't know I was coming on, so go ahead and get started.
Relations with the United States will significantly improve, but that may not be, unfortunately, until 2029 when the next election. So in the immediate future, I don't see how it's possible for the Brits to reverse course and support President Trump by attempting to buy Greenland. There's a negotiation taking place right now. Yeah, I do you are going to see major concessions from the European side, including from the UK over Greenland, and not least because the UK needs to get a trade deal done with the United States. That's not mere based on Greenland tension, but also the division of the Chagos as well is a very big issue. I do expect that Kyrgyzstan will ultimately back off over Chagos. I think he will withdraw his Chagos surrender bill, which is strongly opposed by all the other political parties are opposed, but most of the British people oppose it. But I do think we're going to see Kyrgyzstan backtracking in the face of tremendous US opposition. But I expect you're going to see concessions on the British side, not on the American side. John, that's all good stuff. We appreciate being with us today. Perhaps you're taking out the British point of view. No, you don't. You don't represent the British point of view. You just got to take the chance. That's the good. Right. Come back since that time. Like, it's that markets see
Hey, Jordan. I, thanks for listening. Yeah, I decided to come on. I got snow and everything. 4 minutes, under four.
Secret Service is getting very nervous right now.
Does anybody want some cake?
Can you catch?
Thank you all very much. Thank
Music. Playing the music still. For the whole video, we'll have the music on. Just about over. Okay, I got two other ones I want to play from this morning. A 16-minute and an 8-minute. I get it.
Canada gets a lot of freebies from us, by the way. They should be grateful also, but they're not. I watched your prime minister yesterday. He wasn't so grateful. But they should be grateful to us. Canada lives because of the United States. Remember that, Mark, the next time you make your statements. I have tremendous respect for both the people of Greenland and the people of Denmark. Tremendous respect. But every NATO ally has an obligation to be able to defend their own territory. And the fact is, no nation or group of nations secure Greenland other than the United States. We're a great power, much greater than people even understand. I think they found that out 2 weeks ago in Venezuela. We saw this in World War II when Denmark fell to Germany after just 6 hours of fighting and was totally unable to defend either itself or Greenland. So the United States was then compelled, we did it, we felt an obligation to do it, to send our own forces to hold the Greenland territory. And hold it we did at great cost and expense. They didn't have a chance of getting on it, and they tried. Denmark knows that. We literally set up bases on Greenland for Denmark. We fought for Denmark. We weren't fighting for anyone else. We were fighting to save it for Denmark. Big, beautiful piece of ice. It's hard to call it land. It's a big piece of ice. But we saved Greenland and successfully prevented our enemies from gaining a foothold in our hemisphere. So we did it for ourselves also. And then after the war, which we won it big. Without us, right now you'd all be speaking German and a little Japanese, perhaps. After the war, we gave Greenland back to Denmark. How stupid were we to do that? But we did it. But we gave it back. So now our country and the world face much greater risks than it did ever before because of missiles, because of nuclear, because of weapons of warfare that I can't even talk about. 2 weeks ago, they saw weapons that nobody ever heard of. They weren't able to fire one shot at us. They said, what happened? Everything was discombobulated. They said, we've got them in our sights. Press the trigger, and nothing happened. No anti-aircraft missiles went up. There was one that went up about 30 feet and crashed down right next to the people that sent it. They said, what the hell is going on? Those defensive systems were made by Russia and by China. So back to the drawing boards, I guess. Greenland is a vast, almost entirely uninhabited and undeveloped territory. It's sitting undefended in a key strategic location between the United States, Russia, and China. That's exactly where it is, right smack in the middle. Wasn't important nearly when we gave it back. You know, when we gave it back, it wasn't the same as it is now. It's not important for any other reason, you know, everyone talks about the minerals. There's so many places. There's no rare earth, no such thing as rare earth. There's rare processing, but there's so much rare earth. And this, to get to this rare earth, you got to go through hundreds of feet of ice. That's not the reason we need it. We need it for strategic national security and international security. This enormous unsecured island is actually part of North America, on the northern frontier of the Western Hemisphere. That's our territory.
Yes, about over.
It is therefore a core national security interest of the United States of America. And in fact, it's been our policy for hundreds of years to prevent outside threats from entering our hemisphere, and we've done it very successfully. We've never been stronger than we are now. That's why American presidents have sought to purchase Greenland for nearly 2 centuries.
If you like this video, then like, share, and subscribe.
Okay, that's that one. I got another one, then I got one on the update with Denmark. Then I'll change the topics. Oh, wrong one. $17 minutes.
Donald J. Trump.
Well, thank you very much, Larry. It's great to be back in beautiful Davos, Switzerland, and to address so many respected business leaders, so many
Yeah,
friends,
16 minutes, you guys.
few enemies, and all of the distinguished guests. It's a who's who, I will say that. I've come to this year's World Economic Forum with truly phenomenal news from America. Yesterday marked the 1-year anniversary of my inauguration, and today, after 12 months back in the White House, our economy is booming, growth is exploding, productivity is surging, investment is soaring, incomes are rising, inflation has been defeated, our previously open and dangerous border is closed and virtually impenetrable. And the United States is in the midst of the fastest and most dramatic economic in our country's history. Under the Biden administration, America was plagued by the nightmare of stagflation, meaning low growth, and high inflation, a recipe for misery, failure, and decline. But now, after just 1 year of my policies, we are witnessing the exact opposite: virtually no inflation and extraordinarily high economic growth. Growth like I believe you'll see very shortly our country has never seen before, perhaps no country has ever seen before. Over the past 3 months, core inflation has been just 1%. Meanwhile, fourth quarter growth is projected to be 5.4%, far greater than anybody other than myself and a few others had predicted. Since the election, the stock market has set 52 all-time high records. So that's in 1 year, 52 records, adding $9 trillion in value to retirement accounts, 401ks, and people's savings. People are doing very well. They're very happy with me. Since my inauguration, we've lifted more than after 4 years in which Biden secured less than $1 trillion of new investment in our country. Think of that, $1 trillion, substantially less than that. In 4 years, we've secured commitments for a record-breaking $18 trillion, and we think when the final numbers come out, they'll be closer to $20 trillion of investment. That's never been done by any country at any time, not even close. Just over 1 year ago, under the radical left Democrats, we were a dead country. Now we are the hottest country anywhere in the world. In fact, the United States economy is on pace to grow at double the rate that was projected by the just last April. And with my growth and tariff policies, it should be much higher. I really believe we can be much higher than that.
12 minutes.
And this is all great news, and it's great for all nations. The USA is the economic engine on the planet. And when America booms, the entire world booms. It's been the history. When it goes bad, it goes bad. You all follow us down and you follow us up. And we're at a point that I don't believe we've ever been. I never thought we could do it this quickly. My biggest surprise is I thought it would take more than a year, maybe like a year and 1 month. But it's happened very quickly. This afternoon, I want to discuss how we have achieved this economic miracle, how we intend to raise living standards for our citizens to levels never seen before, and perhaps how you too and the places where you come from can do much better by following what we're doing, because certain places in Europe are not even recognizable, frankly, anymore. They're not recognizable. And we can argue about it, but there's no argument. Friends come back from different places. I don't want to insult anybody and say I don't recognize it. And that's not in a positive way. That's in a very negative way. And I love Europe, and I want to see Europe go good, but it's not heading in the right direction. In recent decades, it became conventional wisdom in Washington and European capitals that the only way to grow a modern Western economy was through ever-increasing government spending, unchecked mass migration, and endless foreign imports. The consensus was that so-called dirty jobs and heavy industry should be sent elsewhere, that affordable energy should be replaced by the Green New Scam, and that countries could be propped up by importing new and entirely different populations from faraway lands. This was the path that Sleepy Joe Biden administration and many other Western governments very foolishly followed, turning their backs on everything that makes nations rich and powerful and strong. And there's so much potential in so many nations. The result was record budget and trade deficits and a growing sovereign deficit driven by the largest wave of mass migration in human history. We've never seen anything like it. Quite frankly, many parts of our world are being destroyed before our very eyes, and the leaders don't even understand what's happening. And the ones that do understand aren't doing anything about it. Virtually all of the so-called experts predicted my plans to end this failed model would trigger a global recession and runaway inflation. But we have proven them wrong. It's actually just the opposite. In 1 year, our agenda has produced a transformation like America has not seen in over 100 years. Instead of closing down energy plants, we're opening them up. Instead of building ineffective, money-losing windmills, we're taking them down and not approving any. Instead of empowering bureaucrats, we're firing them, and they're going out and getting jobs in the private sector for 2 and 3 times what they were making in government. So they started off hating me when we fired them, and now they love me.
Let's cover 10 pro tips for working with the Cursor agent. So I've got Cursor open and my agent on the right. And
instead of raising taxes on domestic producers, we're lowering them and raising tariffs on foreign nations to pay for the damage that they've caused. In 12 months, we have removed over 270,000 bureaucrats from the federal payrolls, the largest single-year reduction in government employment since the end of World War II. Nobody thought that was coming, but we had no choice. To make a country great, you can't have all federal jobs. We've cut federal spending by $100 billion and slashed the federal budget deficit by 27% in the single year. It's going to go down quite a bit more from that, driving inflation way down from the record highs of the Biden administration. Every month, they went up and up and up. I promised to cut 10 old regulations for every single new regulation, but instead I've cut, actually till this point, 129 regulations for every one new regulation approved. So every time they come in with a new regulation, we do at least 10, but so far it's averaging out to 129, if you can believe it. In July, we passed the largest tax cuts in American history, including no tax on tips, no tax on overtime, no tax on Social Security for our great seniors. We also provided 100% expensing. That's the one they like. And bonus depreciation for all new equipment and capital investments to help companies expand and shift production to America. They are so in love with that. They build a plant, they're able to deduct it immediately, the whole thing, rather than waiting 38 to 41 years in the old days. This is a miracle taking place. Nobody thought it would ever be done by any country, but it's done by us. It was what made my first term the most successful 4-year term that we've ever had from a financial standpoint. And now we've upped it. This is a 10-year program, not a 1-year program, but you're allowed to deduct everything in 1 year. It used to be 38 to 41 years. With tariffs, we've radically reduced our ballooning trade deficit, which was the largest in world history. We were losing more than $1 trillion every single year, and it was just wasted. It was going to waste. But in 1 year, I slashed our monthly trade deficit by a staggering 77%. And all of this with no inflation, something everyone said could not be done. There were a couple of brilliant people that actually thought I was doing the right thing. I thought I was doing the right thing. Now they all think I'm doing the right thing because they can't believe the numbers. American exports are now up by more than $150 billion. Domestic steel production is up by 300,000 tons a month, and it's doubling over the next 4 months. It's doubling and tripling, and we have steel plants being built all over the country. Nobody thought they'd see that. Factory construction is up by 41%, and that number is really going to skyrocket right now because that's during a process that they're putting in to get their approvals, and we've given very, very quick, fast approvals. In the process, we've made historic trade deals with partners covering 40% of all U.S. trade. Greatest companies and countries in the world. We have countries as our partner, too. The European nations, Japan, South Korea. They're our partners. They've gone into massive deals with us, especially on oil and gas. And these agreements raise growth and cause stock markets to boom, not only in the U.S., but virtually every country that came to make a deal, because as you've learned, when the United States goes up, you follow. It's really become a staple. In America, I've stopped the nation-wrecking energy policies that drive up prices while sending jobs and factories to the world's worst polluters. They are indeed polluters. Under Sleepy Joe Biden, new domestic oil and gas leases fell by 95%. Think of that. And they wonder, why was gasoline going up so fast? The gasoline actually topped $1 a gallon, and more than 100 major power plants were violently shut down by incompetent people that had no idea what the hell they were doing. Under my leadership, U.S. natural gas production is at an all-time high by far. U.S. oil production is up by 730,000 barrels a day. And last week we picked up 50 million barrels from Venezuela alone. Venezuela has been an amazing place for so many years, but then they went bad with their policies. 20 years ago, it was a great country, and now it's got problems, but we're helping them. And those 50 million barrels, we're going to be splitting up with them, and they'll be making more money than they've made in a long time. Venezuela is going to do fantastically well. We appreciate all of the cooperation we've been giving. We've been giving great cooperation. Once the attack ended, and they said, let's make a deal.
A battle in World of Warships isn't armor and armor.
More people should do that. But Venezuela is going to make more money in the next 6 months than they've made in the last 20 years. The leadership of the country has been very good. They've been very, very smart. The price of gasoline is now below $2.50 a gallon in many states, $2.30 a gallon. will soon be averaging less than $2 a gallon. It's already down even lower, $1.95 a gallon. Numerous states are at $1.99, numbers that nobody has heard for years. Actually, since my last administration, we got it down to around those numbers. I've signed an order directing and approval of many new nuclear reactors. We're going heavy into because I didn't like the risk, the danger, but they have the progress they've made with nuclear is unbelievable, and the safety progress they've made is incredible. We're very much into the world of nuclear energy, and we can have it now at good prices and very, very safe. And we're leading the world in AI by a lot. We're leading China by a lot. I think President Xi respects what we've done, in part because I've allowed these big companies building these massive buildings to build their own electric capacity. They're building their own power plants, which when added up is more than any country anywhere in the world is doing. I read recently an article in the Wall Street Journal that China's creating so much energy, and they are. I got to hand it to them. But we're creating as much or more, and we're letting them do that. I'm very proud of it. It was my idea. I said, you can't create this much energy. We need more than double the energy currently in the country just to take care of the AI plants. And I said, we can't do that. We have an old grid system. And I came up with the idea, you people are see what you can do. You can build your own electric generating plants. And they looked at me. They didn't believe me. All of the names that are, I think, in the room right now, if you want to know the truth, they didn't believe it. And I said, no, you can't. They came back 2 weeks and they didn't have the plant. They said, we thought you were kidding. I said, no, not only am I not kidding, you're going to have your approvals within 2 weeks. I always say nuclear will take 3 weeks. But most aren't going that. They're going oil and gas. They're even going coal in some cases. Because of my landslide election victory, the United States avoided the catastrophic energy collapse which befell every European nation that pursued the Green New Scam, perhaps the greatest hoax in history. The Green New Scam, windmills all over the place, destroy your land.
Nothing can stop me. I'm all the way up. On ESPN, it's always rivalry season.
So I did a couple clips there from this morning for people that was at work. Now I'll get to the intel.
This is about what happened on Sunday with Don Lemon and protesters. The Resist program, Resist organization, they basically came and disrupted a church, I guess, worship service. That's a violation, not so much of the Ku Klux Klan Act, but the FACE Act. The FACE Act is U.S. Code Title 18, U.S. Code 248, which means that anybody who comes in and disrupts or causes people to basically keeps them from getting the services that they're attending. Now, it has to do with clinics. Let's say a person needs to get their teeth pulled or something like that, okay? Or some medical assistance. If someone comes in and disrupts that ability for that person to get that service, that's a violation of their rights, okay? That's a major crime. Second of all, churches are basically the same, under the same, I guess, umbrella, where if anybody comes in and disrupts those services, that's a violation of their rights. This is what's going to happen. First off, this is a federal statute. It is a federal crime. It comes with severe financial penalties and prison. Second of all, even though it's a federal crime, the Department of Justice will not charge Don Lemon and the others with that crime. What they'll do, what will happen office in Minnesota, okay, they'll have their prosecutors convene. They will take charge of the case at the behest or the direction of the Department of Justice, and they will convene a grand jury. A grand jury will sit down in private with 16 to 23 citizens that are drawn from a pool, and basically they'll look at the evidence. What's the evidence? Don Lemon's video. He's videoing outside, okay, the church before they go in. What that does, it implicates him in the event. Doesn't matter if he's there to interview, whatever. He's part of the group. He will be basically dealt with as the same as the people that were there to agitate. More importantly, once the grand jury is convened, it won't take very long for the citizens or the people. This is in private. They'll look at the evidence. It's unequivocal. You can't get away from it. You see what happened. These people basically had to flee because they could no longer worship as they were doing before they got there. This is the violation of their rights, most egregious way. And then once the citizens, the grand jury determines that that a crime has been committed, then down all the people there that agitated and Don Lemon will be indicted. The feds will go to their house, arrest them, put them in handcuffs, take them to the jail, basically detain them, and so they'll get a little which basically they'll be able to file for bail, and they'll be perp walked. They'll be perp walked into the jail, patted down, stripped down the whole bit, and put in a holding cell, and then they'll get bail. But more importantly, what will happen is a trial will be set. So having said that, you need to watch how this plays out. Let me point this out. Wheels of justice turn very slow, okay? There's a reason for that. The U.S. Attorney's Office in Minnesota or any state have a budget. And when they bring a case to court, they want to make sure that your money's being used properly and it has a most effect. More importantly, they want to make sure that when they bring that case to court, they get what they want, a conviction. This is vitally important. This is what to bring these cases and to court. And remember, now we see a lot of people being arrested in Minnesota for the fraud, right? 100 people or more have been arrested. Many elected officials have plausible deniability because their staffers hide the information from them. They're just out there kissing babies and shaking hands. That's why Tim Walz and Fry are under investigation right now. But that determines it is yet to be determined what's going to happen with them. But in this particular case with these agitators going into a sanctuary, a church, they basically violated the sanctity of a place of worship. That is a major federal crime. Having said that, watch as this plays out. Give it some time. Be patient. It's going to be interesting. I want to see what Don Lemon. I want to see him tighten up. His back there, he's going to tighten up quite a bit. Watch what happens. All these people, they think and that one guy said, "Hey, you're going to file charges on me." What was his, Mr. William Schaefer or something like that? He said, "Come and get me." Okay, well, he's going to get his wish.
Okay, our new guy from TikTok. Got another 5-minute one.
The Justice Department today subpoenaing Minnesota Governor Tim Walz ends with somebody in jail.
If there was a crime committed, yes. And I can tell you from what we saw from the church, yes. There are few things that are seriously protected and that are surpassed by the First Amendment, and that is the right to pray in a church without disruption from some crazy person or some canceled CNN reporter whom has no credibility, and to come in and say, hey, I'm exercising my First Amendment right. Absolutely not. There's another problem for Somalians, as we saw. He's a Somali sympathizer, in my opinion. Fraud, crime, violation of people's against the FACE Act. Those are the types of things, Rob, that this Department of Justice and this administration just isn't going to tolerate.
Yeah, let me play you a soundbite from that. Minnesota Attorney General Keith Ellison went on with Don Lemon after this fiasco at the church on Sunday, and he asked him about laws being broken, and the Attorney General didn't seem to think there was any issue. Take a look.
The protest is fundamental to American society. This country started in a protest, and it's freedom of expression. People have a right to lift up their voices and make their peace, and none of us are immune from the voice of the public.
Okay, so the DOJ is looking into this. I know that. It seems like, just looking at the videos, that multiple laws were violated. Are you looking into people like Don Lemon and those protesters?
We're looking at everybody and anybody that violated the law, whether it be the FACE Act, whether it be any law, frankly, including Section 111, which is impeding ICE officers, which is happening for absolutely no good reason across the country. You saw today, if you saw the president's press conference, he stood up and showed you pictures of every single person that was arrested, their crimes. Drug dealers, gangs, assaults. One individual had 24 prior arrests. And that is what we're doing. I think there was a video that went viral of an ICE officer pulling down his window and saying to those protesters that day, what are you guys protesting? We're just here to arrest a rapist and take him off of your streets to make Minneapolis safer for you.
Yeah.
It's so crazy what I'm seeing. And unfortunately, that AG, he doesn't know the law. And it's unfortunate that he's in that position because he's doing a disservice.
Okay, so none Trump doesn't win. These anti-ICE protests have been happening in states all across the country, but to your point, Minnesota's getting all the attention. Axios reporting President Trump is not happy with the optics. Here's the quote. What he doesn't want is what people are seeing. He doesn't like the way it looks. It looks bad. He's expressed so, and there's a right way to do it, and this doesn't look like the right way. Is that story accurate? Is the president unhappy with the optics of these ICE raids?
I think you heard from the president himself today when he stood at the podium in the White House and said, I need you all to understand why we're doing what we're doing. And it's exactly what I just said. These people are rapists. They're criminals. And there's not enough attention on that because there's people like Don Lemon going into churches, which is so uncanny and ridiculous and against the law to go in and disrupt people praying, that people are not understanding the fundamental importance of cleaning up the streets and what this administration is focused on. So I know the president is really proud, as you saw today, of the work on today is our 1 year anniversary of this administration. He had a book with him at his press conference today showing everybody how many accomplishments there are. And I think that
I haven't read all of it yet. Yeah, it is there was a lot that he went through today and a lot to talk about as we go into year number 2, which starts at midnight tonight. Alina Habba, great to see you again. Thank you.
Hey, former Trump's lawyer there, latest. Another short one.
Actually in Minneapolis. So I work 80 to 90 hours a week. I put on 600 to 700 miles a week on my car. I work incredibly hard. Now, the media would have you believe that this entire state is a Democrat state and a socialist Democrat state. And I can tell you that there are millions of conservatives in this state.
3 minutes.
I want you to ponder something. So a common question I get asked is, how do you guys keep electing these corrupt politicians into the Minnesota government? So ponder this. Billions of dollars worth of fraud here. And we're supposed to believe, oh, our bad. It just slipped through my fingers. I didn't even know what was going on. And some might have went in my pocket, but we'll fix it. But our elections are completely honest. We are to be trusted 100% in this area. I truly believe this will be the next fraud that will come out in insane numbers. First point. Second point, as conservatives, we are so suppressed in this state. We cannot talk about our values, our love for this country, why we are conservatives, how we value family, country, Constitution, for fear of loss of job, loss of company, loss of customers. Oh, and by the way, now you need to strap up to take your family to church, because I guarantee you with the leadership that we have here in Minnesota, that issue is going to get way, way worse. Which I have no problem protecting my family in that way, and there are millions of us that feel the same way. But can I tell you, I am tired. I feel utterly betrayed, and I am tired. So here's my request from you guys. Will you please pray for Minnesota? Pray.
Okay, another important lady out of Minnesota. Yeah, Tim, I got snow this morning and all that. It's still snowing a little bit. So I'm stuck in here all day, and I did a couple clips from Trump earlier. No hour videos, maybe 35 today, and then the rest are short ones. See how at least 12 I go to. I said I wasn't coming on. I always change my mind. Might have played this one already, but
7 people, one as many as 9, and they get a sentence of roughly 40 to 60 years in prison? This is insane. It doesn't compare to some of the things that the writers on January 6th did. All right, take a look at this. A writer for the New York Times wrote an article back in 2020 about Trump making pardons. This is how it reads. President Trump doled out clemency to a new group of loyalists on Wednesday, wiping away convictions and sentences as he aggressively employed his power to override courts, juries, and prosecutors to apply his own standard of justice for his allies. Now, fast forward to 2025 when Biden is leaving office. Same paper, New York Times. This is what they wrote. President Biden moved just hours before leaving office on Monday to guard some of President-elect Donald J. Trump's most high-profile adversaries against a promised campaign of retribution by using preemptive pardons to head off potentially driven prosecutions. Oh, so Biden is the one fighting against politically driven prosecutions. Got it. I guess this is like the time when the media told us the BLM riots were mostly peaceful, despite a few minor details like, I don't know, buildings burning to the ground, looting. Oh, yeah. And that one time that a reporter got hit while live on air.
We're going to end up in a place we don't want to be here if we're not careful, Katie. So, damn it.
Look at that. Nothing says reform like a good old punch to the gut. What about the crew member from CNN that took a blow to the head? Did you see that one?
No. We don't. It's all peace, baby. It's all peace. It's all peace.
Holy
And
a bottle of water knocks you out?
But it was all peace, baby. No need to worry. It was all in the name of justice and healing. As for the small fires, they're not much different from a candlelit vigil, right? Oh, except for maybe this one, where a reporter had to go undercover to capture the destruction in Kenosha, Wisconsin.
We're out here in Kenosha, Wisconsin, in front of one of several structure fires, this one being an office store on the street. The heat is so intense, we're going to walk back this direction. To my left, you can see we're in front of a car lot, which has been completely vandalized by members. And if you actually want to take a look, over here, the correctional facility, as I showed you in our last video, has been completely engulfed in flames. But that structures are not the only targets. As a dump, I think it was either a tow truck or a dump truck, has been targeted. And it actually exploded a little bit earlier.
That was all happening, by the way, under the leadership of Tim Walz. So there's that. Also, while the media is hyperventilating over the release of the 114 rioters from January 6th that injured officers, let's look back at the time when they were radio silent over the 2,000 law enforcement officers who were injured in the first of those gang members. Like loitering outside a church and encouraging activists to traumatize children during mass. Totally normal behavior. And let's not forget, this is the same Don Lemon who once declared that the biggest threat to America was white men. And then he went home and married one. So spare us the lecture. Now compare that circus to this moment of actual reality. Here's an ICE agent who's done playing games, done with theatrics, and decides to explain slowly exactly who these protesters are really protecting.
Reporting, we're here to arrest a child sex offender. And you guys are out here honking.
No, we're pressing. We're not
That vehicle right there is honking and impeding our investigations while we're trying to arrest a child sex offender. That's who you guys are protecting. Insane.
We need a lot more of this. ICE agents should be calmly listing the crimes while activists are accidentally exposing exactly who they're defending. Do this a few more times and I promise those phones are going to go away rather quickly. And just when you think it can't get any more unhinged, meet the left's newest career path, self-appointed neighborhood watch.
You live in the neighborhood? Yep, this is my block, this is my area. I don't go into other people's neighborhoods and try and intimidate them. I protect my people.
Funny how the left hates guns until they're holding one. They hate law enforcement until they're playing neighborhood cop. And they hate intimidation unless it's aimed at someone who disagrees with them. None of this is accidental. It's the direct result of Democrat leaders that have been spending years handing unhinged activists a permanent green light, reassuring them there would be no consequences, no limits, no accountability. You're doing the right thing for America. But that free ride may finally be over because after the despicable stunt that Don Lemon pulled on Sunday, the Trump administration isn't playing defense anymore. They're firing back. And this time, accountability is on the table. The assistant AG, Dylan Harmeet, took to X writing, quote, "A house of worship is not a public forum for your protest. It is a space protected from exactly such acts by federal, criminal, and civil laws. Nor does the First Amendment protect your pseudo-journalism of disrupting a prayer service. You are on notice." Here's Don Lemon reacting to that news.
I had no affiliation to that organization. I didn't even know they were going to this church until we followed them there. We were there chronicling protests.
Okay, we saw that part. Yeah, Mike, I got snow today, so not doing nothing. So I decided to come on and do the short videos and couple ones here. I did see that last night. I'll try to find something on that. And one more with her.
And investigations inch closer to real consequences. The panic is getting loud. We've got a big show for you today with breaking news. Governor Tim Walz, Attorney General Keith Ellison, and Minneapolis Mayor Jacob Frey all had a very bad day today, courtesy of the FBI.
Okay,
Meanwhile, the Justice Department says
look at
mugshots
it. See
may
if I
be
can
coming
find it.
soon. This as Ilhan Omar appears to be panicking over mounting evidence pointing to multiple illegal activities. Funny how transparency suddenly disappears when consequences show up. Like the video, subscribe so you don't miss any of the breaking headlines. I want to start with some exciting news. Before we dive into all of that, a big announcement today by the Second Lady, Usha Vance, posting that their family is growing. JD Vance also releasing a statement that reads in part, quote, "We're very excited to share the news that Usha is pregnant with our fourth child, a boy. Usha and the baby are doing well, and we are all looking forward to welcoming him in late July." Congratulations to the both of you. We wish you nothing but the best. Okay, now to today's breaking story. The FBI department has signed, sealed, and delivered grand jury subpoenas to Governor Tim Walz and other key Minnesota officials.
The FBI has apparently just served subpoenas to several officials here in Minneapolis, including members of the office of Governor Tim Walz.
And I can now confirm that Governor Tim Walz, Attorney General Keith Ellison, Mayor Jacob Fry, St. Paul's mayor, and several other officials have all received subpoenas as part of a major investigation. Shortly after the news broke, Tim Walz, he issued a statement that reads in part, quote, "The state of Minnesota will not be drawn into political theater. This Justice Department investigation, sparked by calls for accountability in the face of violence, chaos, and the killing of Renee Good, does not seek justice. It is a partisan distraction." Well, Tim Walz and Jacob Fry, they're being accused of conspiring to impede ICE.
ICE currently has more than 1,360 immigration detainers on illegal aliens in Minnesota jails and prisons, and we are calling on Governor Walz and Mayor Fry to turn these criminal illegal aliens directly over to ICE to keep Minnesota residents in our community safe. If local officials, including those in the Twin Cities, don't want ICE to arrest criminal aliens that are at large in their communities, the best solution is to turn them over to us in a safe, controlled setting like a jail or prison, instead of releasing them back onto the street to victimize our neighborhoods.
The fact that these Democrat leaders won't let ICE into their jails just proves that they want the chaos on their streets. Now, as for Attorney General Keith Ellison, who is also under federal investigation, he just managed to fail what should be the easiest civics pop quiz of all time. What is the FACE Act?
The FACE Act
are officially entered.
Okay. I'll do some more later tonight. Yeah, I'll try to get those videos maybe later. Another short one.
Telling them what zoning laws should look like. Here's what we can do. We could use a carrot and a stick. Every year, we send between $2 and $3 billion to cities across America. Every city gets a little bit of it. Some cases, a lot of it. But every year, just like clockwork, we appropriate sometimes it's really more like $3 to $4 billion. And we send that money through the Department of Housing and Urban Development. And based on the population in a city, they determine who gets what portion. And the local governments, they love what we call Community Development Block Grant money, CDBG funds. You say CDBG to a person in local government, they'll start salivating. They love this money like the devil loves sin. Why is that? Because it's free money. And they have a lot of discretion. They, meaning our friends in local government, have a lot of discretion on how they spend it. They can rehab public housing. They can build streets. They can use it for code enforcement without the government, a federal government, staring them down. So I came up with this idea, convinced Senator Elizabeth Warren to join me. And we drafted and indeed passed, I'll talk about that in a second, a bill called the Bill Now Act. And it's really very simple. It says we're not going to tell local governments how to increase housing starts. We're just going to tell them if they do increase housing starts, we're going to reward them with more CDBG money. If they don't increase housing starts, we're going to take some of their money away. Carrot, stick. And here's how it would work. Every year, we look at all of our cities. I think the cutoff is 50,000 people or more. And we look at the housing starts, percentage-wise, in each of our cities across America. And after we look at all of them, there'll be a bunch of them, but we've got computers. We look for the median point, not the average. We don't add them up and divide. We look for the median point. The median point is the city right smack dab square in the middle. Half of the cities have increased housing starts more, and half of the cities below the median have increased housing starts less. So that's our starting point, the median. Let's call it 4%. If our bill were in effect, and next year, the median, you can call it average if you want, the median is 4%. If you're a local government and you met 4%, you get all your CDBG money. Good for you. You get a gold star. Maybe if the median is 4%, you did even better. Not only did you reach the median level, 4% increase in housing starts, you got 6%. Guess what? You're going to get extra CDBG money. You get extra money. That's the carrot. Now, you're thinking to yourself, there's a catch here. Okay, there's no free lunch. Somebody tells you something's free, anything that's free, somebody had to pay for. Somebody had to work for. Here's the catch. We're going to get that extra money to reward the cities that increased housing starts above the median. We're going to take it from the cities that don't, up to 10%. Now, what does that mean? That means we're not going to tell them, we're not going to tell our friends in local government whether to increase housing starts or decrease. And we're sure not going to tell them how to do it. They don't have to do a damn thing if they don't want to. But if they do increase housing starts, they're going to get extra money from the federal government. And if they don't, they're going to get less. And it will work. Short of us.
Another good one from Kennedy there. Well, this morning on Cash. 5 minutes.
Reader Grash, I just want to thank DT. More FBI Director Kash Patel. Let's talk about investigation and the officials, and let's get into the law, the aspect.
Hey, Sean, it's great to be with you. And as you know, I can't comment on ongoing investigations, but generally speaking, when you have subpoenas out, it's not rocket science. Investigations are done by acquiring records. Investigations are then furthered by putting witnesses in the grand jury and making a presentment for a case, which our partners at the Department of Justice and the Attorney General will do in any case. But let's make one thing absolutely crystal clear. Under President Trump's leadership, he has supplied law enforcement the resources they need to protect our American communities. He has also given us the mandate to enforce the law. And the law is simply this: no one, elected official, private citizen or otherwise, gets to impede and obstruct a law enforcement investigation. No one. And this FBI is committed to working with our interagency and our Department of Justice partners under President Trump's mandate to make sure Minnesota and every other city across this country is safe. And that's why we're having the record year that we're having under President Trump's brilliant leadership.
Director, you know, the FBI under your leadership now has been able to capture 5 of the FBI's 10 most wanted fugitives. Most recently, a fugitive sought for the alleged 2016 murder of a North Carolina coworker. This person had gone to another state. You found him. That is 5 people on that list. That is a great accomplishment.
The FBI's top 10 is not something that was created by the Trump administration. These 5 individuals were collectively on the run, Sean, for over 35 years across multiple continents and multiple countries. Again, President Trump was given a sweeping mandate to return security to American neighborhoods and towns across this country. And this FBI let out on a mission to go out into the ends of the earth and capture 5 top 10 most wanted fugitives. And one of those folks is going to be coming right back to America just this week to face justice. And this can only happen, Sean, when you have law enforcement first and you're letting good cops be cops. So let's put that into perspective, Sean. The Biden administration in its entirety, in 4 years, captured 4 top 10 fugitives. President Trump has delivered 5 in just 1 year. And I'm telling you, there's more coming very soon.
You have child adolescent forensic interviews in cases up a whopping 900%, 730 plus arrests, more than 450 victims. If you look at where we were a year ago today, the FBI working with their partners, an amazing 67,000 arrests, which is a 200% increase from the year prior. Rather impressive, Director.
Let's just break down those numbers and hit pause for a second. 67,000 criminal arrests by this FBI under President Trump and the Department of Justice. That is a 200% increase. We're talking about lives saved. We're talking about children safeguarded. We're talking about murders prevented. A 210% increase in criminal gangs taken down. Trende Aragua and other criminal gangs. We're talking about 6,000 child victims found and located. We're talking about the seizure of 150 million lethal doses of fentanyl. That's up 31%. These are just some of the record-breaking numbers President Trump has delivered, and this FBI is tremendously proud to be leading out on this effort. The numbers continue. We're not just talking about violent felon arrest alone. We're saving the American taxpayer while we do it. We slashed $314 million in wasteful contracts immediately. We took another $1.2 billion sledgehammer to bogus contracts, legacy contracts from the Biden administration. That's nearly 10% of our budget. And we're also moving into a new FBI headquarters, saving the taxpayers $5 billion from the behemoth that the Congress and others wanted to build in Maryland. We're giving the FBI a safe, secure workplace in the Ronald Reagan building. We're already making that move. And when that move is complete, we are going to shut down the Hoover building once and for all, which has been a sign of weaponization of law enforcement that we have been battling and continue to battle. It is more than just putting out statistics. We are saving lives at a record pace, and that's because this FBI is getting after it with our state and local partners and our interagency partners, and the Department of Justice is leading out on compelling prosecutions from coast to coast.
Director Kash Patel, you know, law and order and safety and security, it is a prerequisite if any American wants to pursue happiness. I got to tell you, Director Patel, that's an amazing first year. Thank you. You're keeping Americans safe. We appreciate you being.
Okay, cash update. Yeah, I just checked it in chat there right above you, Maria, while I came on. So we got some breaking news. Another shooting, you guys.
So the reports out of Willowbrook is someone ran their vehicle again at Border Patrol. So we got another situation. Just everything keeps just spiraling around the country with all these incidents that are popping up. My goodness, it just continues. Craziness. Ooh, that state representative is speaking.
All right. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning, members of the press. Good morning to our wonderful legislators who are gathered here, our lawmakers. We are here today for a very important occasion. I am Minister Janae Bates Amari. That is spelled J-A capital N-A-E, Bates, B-A-T-E-S, Amari, I-M-A-R-I. I'm the co-executive director of Faith in Minnesota. And I am here with several of our lawmakers who are signed on a very important day that is happening here in the state of Minnesota. So as many know, our state has experienced one of the most devastating, most aggressive, and the most violent in our nation's history, immigration enforcement. And to be clear, it is not just about immigration. It has been about cutting our federal funding. It has been about cutting Minnesotans off from one another. It has been about division and divisive tactics that tell us that we shouldn't care for each other. It has been about pushing us down and trying to subject us, trying to tell us that we deserve less than what we do. And Minnesotans have
Save 50% off during National Reclining Month at Gardner White. Power recliners, sleek sectionals, personalized comfort. Only Gardner White has this huge solution all in stock today, so you can kick back tonight. And free same-day delivery. Save 50% only at Gardner White.
This is the ED. It's not for the faint of heart.
Welcome back. Who else is going to get this place through the 4th of July? I could use a second set of hands.
And so it begins.
And this day of truth and freedom is one that is being called for by Minnesotans across the board. Hundreds of businesses have already said, so have students, so have hundreds of organizations and labor unions, hundreds of faith institutions and communities, and we are calling for this to be a day no one goes to work. But instead, we take action together in community, in moral reflection, and in moral action. And so as we are gathered here, we also have legislators who are here standing in solidarity with their constituents, with Minnesotans. We also, it's important to note that those who are—
There's an update on that. I'm going to do Billy Bean, the first one, just in case she does another one later. It's 15 minutes.
2026
16
time in Texas about 6 a.m. Some of the sources I'll use: God in the Bible, Patriot, Subscribers, Reuters, How Trainer, Space Weather, Daily Mail, Texas Weather Center, Plus. Some of the things we'll cover are G5, KP9, and California is continuing to shake. And we have a Texas freeze coming up. And the U.S. stops sharing intel with the UK and Europe. President Trump is at Davos. So let's get started. So we've had since January 19, we had a G5 KP9 index of 9. We saw auroras since the 19th all the way down to Southern California. And the Earth continues to vibrate from this. That was the result of an X2 flare we had a few days ago. And we are in our third day of geomagnetic storm. Today, it's a strong G3 geomagnetic storm with a KP index of 7. And this has had a direct impact upon the Earth, and especially what do we see going on in California? We see this. The San Andreas Fault is being shaken. Anytime we have large geomagnetic storms, we can see an increase on Earth of earthquakes and volcanoes. So California is shaking. So we had, since January 19, all the way through today, we've had in California 290 micro tremors. We had on Monday a 4.9, a 5.1, Tuesday a 3.8, and we've had 16 3+ earthquakes in this area in California near on the San Andreas Fault line. 16 earthquakes. This is occurring roughly 100 miles east of Los Angeles, on the San Andreas fault line in a 15-mile radius. So that's going on. And the USGS puts this forth, 98% probability of earthquakes, 3.0 plus in the next 7 days plus. The USGS gives a 99% probability of an earthquake in this area that's shaking on San Andreas Fault line in the next 7 days, a 6 to 7 magnitude earthquake. So we need to keep our eye definitely on.
Let's cover 10 pro tips for working with the cursor agent. So and the first tip is to use plan mode. So in the agent input,
California and other earthquake prone areas on Earth, we have a major cold front impacting the U.S. and to bring freezing temperatures all the way down to the south coast of Texas with snow and ice in many areas, beginning Thursday, Friday, and continuing on through Monday. So that's going on. And we have this impacting the economy. We see a war cycle going on right now. We know we have Russia, Ukraine. We have President Trump's move to take Greenland. That's presenting a warlike conflict coming up. And in economy, when this occurs, we see the economy's moving toward gold and silver. And we see gold up $4,800 per ounce, silver up $95 per ounce. And we have this. What's going on with Iran and also Greenland? So that's coming.
Chico.
So we have Greenland.
Chico.
And we have Iran. Now, we have also the UK, Keir Starmer, selling out to the CCP. We also see Canada aligning with the CCP. This takes Greenland, we'll take Canada. Who knows? But right here, we have an island, and Diego Garcia, a strategic U.S. military base. We have Africa, a small island, Mauritius. And this is what Keir Starmer, the leader of the UK, is doing, directly threatening the security of America and the UK. Mauritius is an island controlled by the CCP. Keir Starmer wants to give this island that Diego Garcia U.S. military base plus a strategic UK military base. So we see Keir Starmer being taking actions that, to me, identify him as both the UK and America. Keir Starmer is going to give this strategic military base to Mauritius that is controlled by the CCP. Yep. And we have Keir Starmer pushing through the UK government approval for the largest CCP embassy in Europe to be opened up and renovated in London. Now, many people in the UK are pushing back against Keir Starmer, both for his giving this strategic military island to the CCP-controlled Mauritius, plus opening the largest CCP embassy in Europe in London. People in the UK and certainly America recognize these moves by Keir Starmer as posing a direct security threat against both the UK and America. And since the embassy, the CCP embassy, has been approved by the UK government, now Keir Starmer is okayed to take a visit to Beijing, and in my opinion, no doubt, to receive his payoff. We see Keir Starmer taking direct military security action against both the UK and America. Now, with regard to Iran, we have the U.S. moving to the Middle East We have now 35 F-15s in Jordan. And the last batch was moved with their transponders on, which it's believed the U.S. military did to say to Iran, look, we're continuing to build up military staging of equipment and troops.
Hey.
And we understand President Trump wants a U.S. military hit on Iran to be a decapitating strike. So that's going on. And they also moved with KC-135 refuelers. Refuelers are always needed for fighter jets. And we have this.
Whether you're a professional auto technician or working in your home garage, Harbor Freight has the storage solutions you need.
Iran yesterday tested an ICBM from Iran toward Siberia with the okay of the Russian government. And they successfully tested this ICBM that can travel 10,000 kilometers or 6,214 miles, which means Iran could launch an ICBM that could easily hit New York City or Washington, D.C. And we have this. We have in the last 3 days, the CCP moving to Iran, 16 Chinese military cargo planes. And no doubt, the CCP is advising Keir Starmer every step of the way. And we have this with regard to Greenland. We know that President Trump, in the past 7 to 10 days, has been talking Greenland for strategic security for the U.S., which would protect both Greenland, Canada, and the U.S. and South America, with President Trump's and the U.S. military's Golden Dome program. So Greenland is necessary for U.S. strategic security, and this would also provide security for Europe indirectly. When this happened, we had 7 or 8 European nations saying, oh, no, send our military to Greenland. Stand up our military against the military. This included Norway. And then 48 hours, Greenland has sent out letters to its citizens. In time of war, the Norway government is going to have to confiscate citizen assets. This includes your homes, your vehicles, any prepping, storage items you have. And oh, do you have extra money in your bank account you're not using? Well, the Norway government will need it. The tariffs, President Trump, Norway, Sweden, Finland, Denmark, plus several other nations that sent their militaries to Greenland. So his tariff program would begin February. Nations that are opposing the U.S. taking Greenland. And then if that didn't work, June 1, raising that to 25%. So that's going on. Now we see the U.S. standing down intel sharing with both the UK and Europe and NATO. President Trump has directed the U.S. military to close down 200 U.S. intel locations in Europe at NATO command locations. So that's going on. And now we have Keir Starmer, who threatens both the security of the UK, NATO, Europe, and the US in his collusion with the CCP, I believe. We see now the UK shutting down intel sharing with the US, and the UK is out of what's called Two Eyes, which was UK and US intel. So the US is shutting down sharing intel. The UK is shutting down sharing intel. So that's going on. And the UK intel will not be shared outside with the US, only with Europe. So it's good to be in prayer for, and President Trump is meeting at Davos. He arrived this morning in Switzerland for the Davos meeting. Davos meeting is a global economic meeting set up, many believe, to put forth the deep state objectives, and nations go there. We understand also, I believe, 3 commie Dem governors have also gone there, Gavin Newsom, Whitmire, and one other. It's believed they're going there to show their stuff, these commie Dem governors, and possibly they will be running in the next presidential election in 2028. So the purpose of this meeting then is to come to economic and trade agreements. It's believed that President Trump will deliver a significant U.S. message regarding Greenland. So it's good to be in prayer for America, President Trump, the U.S. military, and world peace. I love you, and I'll see you soon.
Okay, got that one out, the first one. Hopefully there'll be another one later tonight. Okay, last one will be 5 minutes. That will put me at just about 10:30, hour and a half.
It's time to reclaim and...
Mr. Shirley, you're recognized for your opening statement.
Awesome. Citizens here inside of the United States. I've helped bring to light widespread fraud that's happening inside our nation, and we the people have had enough of our hard-earned money going towards fraudsters as if it's no big deal. As I speak here, I want to ask everyone a question. How much do we trust when we pay our taxes it's going to benefit our nation? People erupted during the Boston Tea Party over just a few percentages as they believe they were being taxed without representation. Nowadays, we have the representation, but do we trust our representatives? My name is Nick Shirley, and I made a 41-minute video that I posted on platforms like X and YouTube. My video received over 100 million views, and it created instant change within our government. As the federal government launched investigations and departments such as Health and Human Services froze over $185 million in child care funding until businesses could prove they are legitimate businesses. I actually became aware of the fraud that was happening in Minnesota in June of 2025 as I was there for a separate video, and Minnesotans started reaching out to me, asking me if I was making a video on the fraud. I said, well, what fraud? And this lady, she was a real estate agent, and she says, well, I'm having a hard time selling my properties because people are curious about these assisted livings that are popping up next door to some of the houses that we're buying, or the home health care clinics that are popping up, and we don't know who's next to these houses that we're trying to sell. And I said, well, I'm not going to come and make a video if I don't have any proof. So therefore, I left Minnesota. And I continued to look for fraud in the best way I could. And as I was getting my own information, a man by the name of David reached out to me and he said, hey, I have been investigating this fraud for years now. I have been driving by these childcare centers. I've never seen a single child, and I have received information from the state of Minnesota as to how much money these places are receiving. I said, great, let me come to Minnesota and we'll make this video about potential fraud that was taking place inside of Minnesota. We go to a daycare, and I'm instantly surprised by what we see. We arrived and it was an industrialized building, and there was 2 daycares registered at that building. And the first thing I noticed is all the windows are blacked out, and there's no footprints in the snow of any children. There's no playgrounds or anything that would make it look like it's a childcare. But above me, a sign read, open 7 a.m. to 10 p.m. But there was nobody there. The doorbell did not even work. And then we continued to go to other daycares and we noticed the same pattern. No children, blacked out windows, and one daycare, a learning center, spelled Quality Learning Center instead of Quality Learning Center. They had received $1.9 million, yet with that $1.9 million, they could not even spell Leering right on their sign. Governor Walz has said he's been fighting fraud in Minnesota since 2019 and said the buck stops with him. However, how long would it take for you to notice $1 million leaving your bank account and not knowing where it's going? That's essentially what had been happening in Minnesota for years, as billions of dollars has been misplaced. And meanwhile, while people like Governor Tim Walz call people like me a white supremacist, delusional conspiracy theorist, he actually decided to drop out of re-election because I believe of how deep and extensive this fraud is. Thank you very much. Since my reporting, the HHS department froze over $185 million, and to this day, not a single business has been able to prove proof of legitimacy. How fast would you be proving that you are a legitimate business if you have children to actually feed and to take care of? You'd be sending in that paperwork instantly. I made this video to document the widespread fraud that has been taking place, as I truly believe all fraud is bad. And people like me, my generation, we're sick of seeing tax dollars go towards fraud. We just want to have the same opportunities that our fathers and our grandparents had. And when you see people making millions of dollars by committing fraud, it upsets everybody from all age demographics. And so I hope today we can have a good conversation. And I think we can all agree that fraud is bad and that fraud is fraud. And I wish the best for our country. And I think that's what needs to be happening, is to crack down on all forms of fraud. So thank you for having me, and God bless the USA.
That was a good one to end the show. So I was a little better than yesterday afternoon. So no long ones. We got a couple short ones from Trump. So, yep, more good stuff tonight, 6. So have a good afternoon. God bless everybody. Please advise. Sub to the backup channels on the description box. Stay safe, stay strong, keep the faith, and never give up. Thanks, Tim, for coming in, for being a mod. No one expected me to be on, so more until 6 o'clock tonight. Have a good one, you guys. Signing off. Chico and Dude.